Time for another Namaste yoga class in my own studio. I'm teaching for Namaste, your hometown studio. I'm really glad that you're here this morning. So I thought we'd start off this morning just with a nice little gentle breathing exercise. So sit up on something. Sit up on your blankets, your blocks. Before we start, make sure you have your props, 2 blocks and a strap. I don't always use them, but sometimes as we move through the practice, I get inspired to, and it's just actually good practice, good habit to get into. So we'll cross one ankle in front of the other if that's comfortable. If not, come to a comfortable seat for you. And close your eyes and find your breath. This morning, rather than starting off with a reading, I thought it would be nice if we started off by setting our own intention. What brings you to the mat this morning? And whatever that intention is, allow your breath to breathe it in. And allow the exhale to be an opportunity to let go of things that aren't serving in the direction of your intention. Turn your palms to face upward and slide your elbows back so they rest under your shoulders. Float your shoulders back so they rest over your hips. And gently slide your chin straight back so that your head rests at the top of the spine. Taking a full breath in, feel the length of the breath reach all the way down to the tailbone. And as you exhale out, allow yourself just to settle into this space of awareness to your intention, closing perhaps with the palms resting, facing upward, and then closing the index finger and the middle finger towards the thumbs. As you breathe in, I'd like you to count to 4. And as you breathe out, count to 6. Inhale to 4. Exhale to 6. Feeling the breath as it moves all the way through your torso. As you begin to really settle into that nice rhythm of taking in and then a little longer to let go. Inhale to 6 and exhale to 9. Feel your face begin to soften. Wiggle the tongue around to release the upper jaw from the lower jaw. Feel the space behind the back of the eyelids release. You take your awareness to the space above the brow. Allow yourself just to settle into this rhythm with your breath. Place our hands to heart center, returning back to a natural rhythm, and we will observe whatever it is you're noticing. Oftentimes when we do some sort of prana practice, some breath practice, what we notice is when we let go of the control, there's a natural rhythm that we return to all by ourselves. We don't have to control everything. So maybe sometimes when we move with that sense of intention, we feel like we're working so hard for the intention, and maybe we just settle in and recognize that often we are living by our intentions. We'll bow our head to our heart. And as we begin our practice, slowly begin to open your eyes and lift your chin. Float your hands out wide, reach your arms up and overhead. Good, now soften your shoulders and then exhale and release. We'll go a couple rounds of breath, just reaching the arms up, stretching from the hip bones up through the fingertips and releasing. Good. And release. Good, decide which hand's your right hand, reach it up towards the ceiling. Good, now get nice and long through the right side. Spider walk those left fingertips out to the side. As you anchor into your right hip, reach through your right fingertips, and then gently softening that left elbow. Reach, reach, reach. Good, try not to cram the right ear up towards the shoulder, or the shoulder towards the right ear, but stretch through the right fingertips. And we'll come back and we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. And come back. 2 more rounds. Stretching through the side body, lengthening, finding space. Inhale, come back. Switch sides, right. Inhale, we'll do that the 3rd time. Remember, we want the head to stay extending from the tailbone. Back up. Even things out. Nice. Come back to center. Take a breath. Reach your right arm up to the ceiling again. Take it to the opposite knee. From your belly, twist to your left. Take your left hand behind your hip. Inhale and lengthen your spine long. As you exhale, allow yourself to twist to the left, keeping the head resting at the top of the spine, and the twist originating from the belly button. Inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Go the opposite way. It's really any amount of space that you can find here. Good, and then inhale, come back up to center, twist to your left. Take a breath, inhale the spine long. Good, deepen into the twist. Use your right hand for leverage. Take your left hand and see if you can reach the back of your left hand somewhere along the back side of your body. So maybe to the sacrum, put a little resistance. Maybe to that opposite hip. And we just want to explore a little more space. And then we'll come back to center and we'll switch sides. Take that left arm up, twist over to your right, take the right hand behind you, inhale and lengthen. Good. Right, now I can't remember. Did we come back to center and then twist, or did we? Cool. Come back to center, reach the arms up. Good, now we're going to go back to the right again. Did I mess that up? Feels like 2nd time. Thank you, secret student. Okay, now the right hand's going to reach somewhere for the back side. So it could be the opposite hip, it could be the sacrum, but we're really actually opening up that right shoulder when we do this. Finding space, the heart's lifting. So my intention is to always know exactly where I am in the practice, but when I get off, it's awfully nice to know that it's not the end of the world. Maybe someone's there to help you. And then we'll inhale and come back to center. Good, so we're even in both sides, right? Float the arms up. Good, exhale and release. Good, float the arms up. Exhale and release. Good, one more time, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Good, reach high, high, high. Then interlace your fingers and turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Good, melt the shoulders away. Feel yourself get long. Lean over to your right. Anchor into that left hip. Keep the head in between the arms. Inhale, come back. Lean over to your left. Good, inhale, come back. Take your hands, clasp them behind your hips. Push your palms down towards the floor as you pull your shoulders away from your ears. Good. Head's resting at the top of the spine. Go ahead and lean over to your right. Push the palms away from the head. Lift up through the head. So try not to drop the head down. Lift up and lengthen. Feel that stretch in the neck. And then we'll come back. We'll go the opposite way. Good. And inhale, come back. All right. put it off to the side so we have the whole mat. Keep your blocks nearby. Bring your wrist creases right underneath your shoulders. Bring your knees underneath your hips. Engage the strength of your core here. So you find that nice neutral. And then sink your heart to the floor and hug your belly so the spine reaches away from the top of the head. The neck shouldn't feel any strain. You're not really looking forward. You're not looking down. You're just sort of letting the gaze be natural. And from that space, go ahead and exhale. Reach your belly up towards the ceiling. Drop your chest to the floor, coming into cow. And then it becomes this nice rhythmic back and forth between your cat and your cow. Come to neutral and find child's pose. Bring your knees to the wide edges of the mat. Kiss your big toes together and push your hips back over your heels. Release your forehead down to something, either the floor or block. As you're resting here in child's pose, you're physically turned inward. Allow yourself to mentally turn inward and remind yourself of your intention this morning. What brought you to the mat? Again, sometimes we lose our way, and then we just need a little reminder. Right, inhale, lift up, walk your hands forward. Your blocks will be at the front of your mat. You're down on your knees, you're in a low plank. Bring the shoulders onto the back, extend from the knees through the top of the head. Engage the core by hugging the legs, and then lift up into a high plank. And from high plank, you're in just the right spot to come into your downward facing dog. Shoulders snuggle onto the back, even out your breathing. Push your hands into the floor as you push your hips up to the ceiling. And then walk your feet forward to your hands. Pushing to both feet, inhale, rise up, reach your arms straight up and overhead, and then exhale, take your hands through to heart center, release your hands down, up and overhead. Your feet should be about hip distance apart. 2 more rounds, reaching the arms down, up and overhead, back to heart center. There it is, 3rd time, beautiful, good, hands to heart center. Reach your palms up and overhead, interlace your palms. Reach the arms up, melt the shoulders down. Push down into your feet. Feel yourself get longer through the palms of the hands. The knees stay soft, the core stays strong. Nice, full breath in, full breath out. Now release your hands behind your hips. Interlace the hands again. Turn the palms to the floor. Push the palms down towards the floor as you lift your head towards the ceiling. Push the feet to the floor as you reach up and rise up through the side body, nice and long. Beautiful. Now float the arms up and overhead. Reach the right palm to the ceiling. Take the left hand to the right wrist. Lean to your left. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Good. Inhale, come back. Switch sides. Lean over to your right from the right foot through the left fingertips. Beautiful. Come back to center. Interlace your palms again. Reach up. Lean to your left. Good. Inhale, come back. Lean to your right. Good. Inhale, come back. Take your hands, interlace them behind your hips. Good. Stretch long. Try not to throw your rib cage forward. Take the ribs back. Good. Push down into the feet. Good. The heart's lifting. Go ahead and lean over to your left. Keeping the head extending from the tailbone. Good. Pushing that right foot. Push, push, push. Good. Come back to center. Lean it over to your left. Good. Inhale and come back to center. Release your hands, wiggle them out. Good. Right now the feet are about hip distance apart. We're coming into chair pose. Sometimes it's really nice to grab a block and bring it between your thighs. Now you want to think of the block as going behind you, not pushing forward. Okay, so squeeze into the block so you feel the sensation that if the block were to go anywhere, which it won't because you're squeezing so tight, but if it were, it would go behind you so you get that nice inner spiral. All right, keep the knees soft, float the arms up. Good, now soften your shoulders, bend your knees, reaching through the fingertips and come into Utkatasana, chair pose. Good. Keeping the heart lift, drop the tailbone, and let's put a little space in the low back here. So hug your belly and see if you can reach your tailbone deeper towards the floor, but keep your heart lifting up towards the ceiling. Good. Can you find a sense of softness in your breath, in your gaze? Maybe that space between the brow you like to hug in there. Don't do that. Keep that soft, keep your core strong. Good, now you're squeezing the block, right? Push into your feet, come all the way up. Good, keep the block between your legs. Take your hands right to the tops of your thighs. Push your thighs away. Bring your elbows up towards the ceiling. Bring your head away from your tailbone, extending long. Right, push down into your feet. Inhale, rise up. Reach your arms up and overhead. Good, now soften the shoulders. Interlace your hands. Reach the palms up towards the ceiling. Melt the shoulders away. Beautiful. Take a full breath in. Bend your knees. Chair pose. Good, now if this is too tight for your shoulders, you've got a block. Or I'm sorry, you've got your strap nearby. You can always just keep your hands on the strap if that's a better option for you. We always have plan B. I don't always know whether or not you need it in this situation. However, I'll try to make sure I throw some of those things in. Good. Keep that heart lifting. Keep making space in the low back. That's a space we love to tighten up. But in this pose, we're strengthening it by dropping the tailbone to the floor. Push down into your feet, come all the way up. Do that half forward fold, hands to the tops of the thighs, extending the head long. Push down into your feet, come all the way up. Again, you can use your strap here and grab the strap behind you and then come into your chair. You don't need to do that and you want to just interlace your hands. Come down into that third variation of chair, pulling the hands towards the floor, lifting the heart, squeezing into the blocks. Okay, are you grasping with your toes? Because if you are, try pulling your toes off and use the strength of your legs, the strength of your core to find your way deeper into your chair pose. I push down into your feet, reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips, come into the forward fold that feels right for you. You can still keep that block in between your legs. In fact, just because it's kind of fun and it's already there, walk your hands forward, walk your feet back, squeeze into the block. You're in that plank pose. Inhale, lift your hips up to the ceiling. Push down into your hands, snuggle the shoulders onto the back. Now remember, we're never trying to get our heels to the floor. If that happens organically for you, that's cool, but that's not a goal. All right, now, one thing we can play with is to bend the knees and bring the shins parallel to the floor. But if I were in the classroom, I'd keep saying to you, push the hips back, push the hands away from the hips. So the shins are parallel, but the shoulders and from the hands to the hips, we're in the same shape as we would be in a downward facing dog. Inhale, straighten into the legs. All right, bend your knees again. Come into that parallel shins to the floor. Push your hips away. Really, if you're going to be a yoga nerd here, you may observe that this is the same shape we were in when we were in Utkatasana, chair pose. Inhale, lift up. One more time, we'll bring the shins parallel to the floor. And release the knees. Take the block out from between your legs. Find child's pose once more. Knees come wide. Settle into the shape of your child's pose. Maybe you feel the shadow of the block still between your legs. Feel that release now that the legs are wide. A different sensation. Feel the weight of your hips dropping down to the floor Imagine that I placed my hand between your shoulder blades right now. And I gently push the shoulder blades down towards one another, the heart towards the floor. And you'll notice a little more space in the shoulders. Then imagine I placed my hand right on your sacrum and gently pulled that space away from your shoulders. You have even more space now along the back body. So for somebody looking in, they may think you are still, and you are, but there's a lot of activity going on, right? Sometimes our intentions aren't necessarily obvious, but they're still there. Just breathe into that. All right, walk your hands back. Make your way into that low plank again. Take a breath in. Lift your knees. Send your hips up towards the ceiling. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, three-legged dog, and push into your right heel. Bring your right foot forward to your right hand. Come up onto your fingertips, bringing your shoulders higher than your hips. And the blocks can help you get there a lot. All right? If you don't need them, that's fine, but there's no reason not to use the props because you have them. All right, now I'm offering you an option again. One is to keep that left knee lifted. The other is to float the left knee to the floor. Both are good options. Inhale, rise up, reach the arms up and overhead. Soften the shoulders away. Lift up through the fingertips. Breathe here and notice. What are you noticing? Is that right knee weight bearing over the ankle? And if your left knee is lifted, do you need to bring the left knee down? Because you can always change your mind. We want to be stable and steady here. Release your hands to the blocks. Push into the left foot, or the right foot, and the left foot comes right up. Reach your arms up and overhead. Good, exhale, hinge at the hips. Forward fold, palms to the earth. Plank pose to downward facing dog. Let's lift the left leg, three-legged dog. Push into that left heel. Float on the breath. Look to your left hand. Bring your left foot forward to your left hand. Rise up into your version of lunge. So the right knee can be up or it can be down. Come all the way up. Float on the breath. Hug the legs together. So when we were doing chair pose, we were squeezing into the block. You can't squeeze into a block in this shape, but you can get that sensation by hugging the legs towards each other, dropping the tailbone, lifting the heart. Don't be afraid to breathe. Be afraid not to breathe. Good. Hands to the block or to the mat. Step your left foot back to meet your right. Inhale, lift up, downward facing dog. Breathe here and notice. Looking between your hands, walk your feet forward. Push into both feet. Inhale, rise up. Good. Exhale, take your hands to heart center. Hope you're doing well. All right, let's do chair pose again, but we're going to add a little twist. All right? So the block can go between your knee or between your thighs if that feels good to you. When we come into chair pose, we keep the hips square, no matter which variation we're doing. Hands come to heart center. Bend your knees, send your hips back. Good. Now we'll add the twist. We'll take the right hand to the right hip. That's just to remind us, stay stable. Okay, so you push down into the right hip. Nothing changes from the waist down. Reach the left arm up. Good. Take a breath. From your belly, begin to twist and take the outside of the left arm to the outside of the right leg. Take your hands and bring them together. And then let's roll the right shoulder on over the left and turn your palms inward, coming into that twist. Your hips are still square, so the twist again is originating from the belly. Finding some ease in the middle of your effort. Are the legs still strong? Are you grasping with your toes? Oh, lift your toes up. Oh, yes, maybe a little bit. All right, drop your head, lift your hips, forward fold. Push down, rise up, reach the arms up and overhead. Awesome. Good. Exhale, take your hands to heart center. All right, we're coming into chair on the opposite side. Legs are strong here. Drop your tailbone down. Keep the length in the low back. Anchor the left hip, reach the right arm up. Take the outside of the right arm to the outside of the left leg. Push the leg against the arm against the leg. Palms come together. Prayer pose. Twisting from the belly, stacking the left shoulder over the right. Keep breathing. Drop your head, lift your hips. Push down, rise up, reach your arms up and overhead. Ooh, good. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Forward fold, palms to the earth. Plank pose. To down dog. Lift your left leg. Look to your left hand, bring your left foot up to your left hand. Decide high lunge or low lunge, your choice. Rise up. Floating the arms up and overhead, softening the shoulders away. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Inhale, get long. Twisting from the belly, take the outside of the right arm to the outside of the left knee. Bring your palms together in prayer position. And then go ahead and twist from the belly, bringing the left shoulder over the right. At any point, you could bring that right knee down. I'm sure your intention might include not overdoing. Good. Having fun here? Beautiful morning. I just see a bunny hopping through the yard. Good. Release your hands to the floor. Take your left foot back to meet your right. Plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, three-legged dog. Float your right foot forward to your right hand. Come into your long lunge. Arms come up and overhead. Right knee's weight bearing over the ankle. Right hand comes to the right hip. Push down so that right hip stays stable. The legs stay the same, right? Long to the left side. Take the outside of the left arm to the outside of the right knee. Bring the palms together. Come into your prayer pose. Twisted long lunge. Keep breathing. Remember, you can always lower the left knee down if it feels like this is more than you want to do. All right, look down to your mat. Take your right foot back to meet your left. Plank pose. Downward facing dog. All right, look in between your hands. Either walk or hop your feet forward to your hands in honor of the bunny. Inhale, lift and rise halfway. And exhale, let it go. Reach your arms up and overhead. Woo, good. Exhale, hands through to heart center. Close your eyes. And check in. Notice your feet on the ground. Notice softness in your knees. Strength in your core. An open heart as the heart lifts towards the thumbs. Strong shoulders as the shoulders melt away from the ears. And the head floats to the top of the spine. Standing here in Tadasana, your intention, whatever it might be, notice it. As you stand here intentionally in this shape. Slowly begin to open your eyes and make your way down onto your backs. Well, if you're practicing by yourself, you only have one back, but come onto your back. We'll all come onto our backs. All right. Hug the knees into the chest
and rock a little bit from side to side. Release your left foot to the floor, hug your right knee towards your right armpit. Release the right foot, hug your left knee in towards your left armpit. And release. Okay, so we're coming into our second to the last pose. It's going to involve both of your blocks. I like to do this in person, but since we can't do it in person, I'm going to really try and use my words to help you find this space. We'll come back down into supported fish, but to come into supported fish, one block will rest right on the rib cage. It doesn't rest up by your shoulder blades. So go ahead and wiggle your shoulder blades around. See if you can find right where the tips are. The block is going to rest just below that. It doesn't come down into your low back because it's not going to feel good, and that's not what we're trying to do. There's no reason to do that. So you find that space where the one block rests right on the rib cage. The second block will come up at its medium height and rest right underneath the base of the skull. And then you'll come down and make sure that you got it right. Because if you've got it wrong, it's not going to feel good. All right? And then we'll take the second block, rest the skull. And then you may have to tweak it a little bit. Wiggle your arm or your shoulder blades around. You should feel like they can totally move around. If it's up too high, like this, and you try to do that, they're going to be stuck. So you bring it right underneath the shoulder blades, but not so low that it's hitting in your low back. And once you've decided, okay, that is awesome, straighten through your legs and relax your hands down next to your hips. If your low back is tender or you just don't love the way it feels right now, bend your knees and bring your feet back to the floor. Both are good options. We'll stay here long enough to notice that if we've taken an option that's not good, we're going to feel it. And just like a moment ago, close your eyes and settle into the intention that you practiced with this morning. If your palms are facing the floor, notice the shift if you turn your palms to face upward. Perhaps you find a little more space. There's the nice summer breeze, moving things around on the porch. As you settle into this shape, perhaps you want this to actually be your last pose of the morning. You can stay here. If you prefer to come into a more traditional Shavasana pose, then I'll invite you to gently roll off your blocks at this time and make your way into the variation of Shavasana that feels just right for you.
take a full breath in and then exhale it out. Again, to gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. Feel the awareness return to your body. Let your thoughts at the moment recognize the stability of the space beneath you and all the possibilities above and around you. Whenever you're ready, bend into your knees, roll and rest on your right side. Take 3 full rounds of breath, allowing the breath to move freely through the back of your body. Move your hands to come up into a seated pose, keeping the eyes closed or just gently looking down. We'll place our hands to heart center. We'll remind ourselves of our original intention this morning. We'll bow our heads to our hearts with love and gratitude. Namaste.